Hello everyone. It's been a very long time since I posted any video. I think it's almost more than 8 months, I believe, since my last proper video. I had been putting some shorts but not any serious video related to PhD research or anything of that matter. I was pretty busy with wrapping up my PhD thesis and finding a job and other things. I'm happy to tell you that I have defended my thesis thanks to my family, my supervisors and everybody. And then I have found a job in Belgium at IMEC as an R&D engineer, and I've come and joined here. So I'm taking this video from Europe, and today I come to you to talk about, there were a lot of list of topics that I had written down during the course of this last year and many years before that. That is generally how I find topics to talk about or topics to share with my viewers and subscribers. So I had a list drawn out, and recently I had a conversation with one of my connections in LinkedIn where I realized that this is something that I should share with a broader audience. This is about civil service preparation with respect to while also pursuing PhD research in India. Why I wanted to talk about it is because I don't know how many of you know my career trajectory till now. To briefly put it, after my graduation I joined a company in Bangalore as a SICK engineer, design engineer. Then I left the job to do a civil service preparation for 1.5 years, and then I couldn't crack it, so I left the preparation, and then I joined a job in Bharat Electronics as a product development engineer. And then finally I ended up with my PhD research in IISc, and that took around 5.5 years and I completed it. So I have gone through all this conundrum or the confusion of preparing on the job, off the job, preparing full time. Should you prepare doing PhD? Should you prepare doing master's degree? I find a lot of people preparing for engineering service, civil service examination while doing their master's degree, not as many doing a PhD degree. So the basic question that is asked to me by many is a simple one. Is it right or is it good to do civil service preparation while enrolled in a PhD program in an IIT or an IISc? It's always your personal choice, and like anybody, given my experiences, I always everybody would have their personal opinions also. So just take whatever I'm going to say next as my personal opinion and nothing more. All of you who is listening or who is thinking about such things have your own justifications, current situation in life, family background, family commitments, so many things that serve as inputs to make to this decision process. But I would bring out certain aspects, certain viewpoints which made me decide what I should do during my PhD tenure. So to put it simply, a very one-line answer is that I wouldn't advise anybody to prepare for civil service examination while enrolled in a serious PhD program in India. So why I say that? I wanted to give a justification or an explanation of why I feel this is basically three-pronged. One is the practical reasons. Second is obviously there is a certain ethical dilemma there, and third is basically a philosophical aspect, and I would touch upon each one of it now. When we come to the practical constraints or practical reasons for why I'm saying that, this is basically that enrolling in a PhD program in the country demands a lot of time commitment, your mental energies to be put in, as well as efforts to be put in. And many times you often feel that time is not enough to even pursue your PhD research in a fairly good manner. Then dedicating a separate time for doing civil service preparation is again something that is, I don't think it's humanly possible if you want to produce quality output from both fronts. I know a few people who are just enrolled in a PhD program and who are not really concentrating on the PhD work but just focusing on the civil service preparation. But I don't know, I never felt comfortable hearing such stories. If it does good to them, well and good. But personally, I don't feel that's a good thing to do. And another thing is obviously what you would have heard about civil service examination in the country very well from a lot of people. I'm talking about civil service IAS, IPS, IFS examination, not necessarily engineering service examination. There is still some merit in preparing for the engineering service examination as a backup while you're pursuing a PhD in engineering, because they are somewhat related. But I wouldn't at all recommend doing the civil service examination preparation along with the PhD, because the other thing is basically what I was about to tell is that you know that the hit rate or the success rate of the civil service examination in the country, it easily, unless you are very lucky or you have prepared, not necessarily lucky, I wouldn't say lucky, people who have prepared really smartly, looking at the right material, everything in the first go, and you clear in the first attempt well and good. Otherwise, it usually takes 2-3 years of effort, and still less than 1% people successfully qualify for the exam. Lot of effort and time goes in. 2-3 years of time goes in. Personally, for me, 1.5 years of dedicated preparation went in. So, are you ready to make that time commitment? Letting go of the actual skill development that you need to put in consciously while pursuing a PhD degree. These are practical limitations. It's like actually a gamble. Do you want to make that gamble, given that you have actually a good PhD research position in a top institute in the country? Is something of a practical decision that you need to make. The next is, that is one aspect. The next is the ethical aspect of it. All of you would know this, but then PhD research in India, you are getting a decent stipend. Even anybody who signs up in an IIT or an IISc gets, even if you are not getting the Prime Minister's Research Fellowship, you will still get a decent stipend of 31,000 in the first 2 years and 37,000 rupees in the next 3 years. And if you stay outside, you get HRA, and if you qualify for PMRF, you get 75 to 85,000 rupees per month, which is not a small amount. It's a fairly good amount to live you can't save much, I agree, but then you can actually take care of things reasonably well. And you get a very good hostel room, mess facilities, excellent library facilities in the institute, access to internet, access to a huge repository of journals, a lot of things. And more than that, what I've come to realize that you get access to a lot of good softwares, licensed access to a lot of softwares where you can learn a lot of techniques, you can develop skills, you can learn software skills. All these are being provided to you by the country. And so given that you are using that skill set or that you have, which helped you gain this PhD admission, and you are not really using it, but using those resources that has been given to you, but then using that time to prepare for civil service examination is sometimes doesn't feel ethically correct. There are many people after PhD, many people need go outside like me to do a postdoctoral work, do some postdoctoral research or an industry experience to gain that worldwide view, and then many come back and take up professorship. So that's a track, academic or industry track of a PhD position, which is still sticking on to the research domain. And recently I saw a lot of videos of the Middle East exports oil, some other countries in Southeast Asia export other raw materials, and India exports excellent talent to the world. Basically, India exports excellent talent to the world. So that is kind of like still something, even if you feel that you are not staying back in the country, you have still been trained by the country as the country's contribution to the world, to the body of science. And science and research and technology, if you really look at it from a ethical standpoint, does not have borders. It's about the pursuit of truth, pursuit of the truths of the governing principles of nature, and there are no borders in that. So you are still pursuing that broader goal of science and research while doing PhD and finishing PhD, doing a postdoctoral work, etc. But doing something orthogonal to it, which is basically the civil service exam preparation, which is more on the social aspect of it, and the career is also totally different. It's going into policy, etc. While you are doing PhD research, doesn't really sync with me. Ethically also, if you are using the resources that have been given to you to perform and produce output, research output, you are using those resources to do a civil service preparation, doesn't really sync well with me. That is the ethical version of it. Then there is the philosophical side of it. You can also say practical. I have suffered from it. I have been there. That's why I'm telling it. There is always a saying, right? Don't have two feet on two boats. You will less necessarily end up drowning. So if you want to do something, especially a civil service exam preparation, which demands a lot of commitment and effort from you, and even after all that you may not succeed, you need to put in smart work, dedicated work, thinking that you don't want to let go of one thing. This is a really good thing, let me also prepare for that, will not necessarily give you good results in both. That's what I have understood. So that is the reason why I left my first job, so that I don't affect my colleagues in my first job with my preparation, because it's all, everybody depends on each other's work to finish the entire project. So that's why I made the decision that let me dedicatedly prepare for a year and a half. So I quit the job initially and then I prepared. I gave in my everything. Still I identified gaps in my preparation later on. But I still, at that point in time, I felt I gave my everything. I couldn't clear the exam. Then I stopped it and I moved on and got a job. And some people still crack with a good job, especially with their family requirement or a financial status would not allow them to take a break. Means that's a different thing. It's your personal decision. But as much as possible, if you are able to prepare dedicatedly, do that. And especially if you are enrolled in a PhD, masters is still okay. I can understand people are anyway going to look for jobs, so they are also preparing for different types of examinations. But PhD research is a very deep philosophical journey, and it's a very lonely journey. It's your own pursuit of truth. It might be a very small minor truth, minor dent in the universe that you're trying to make with your research, but for you to make that very micron nanoscale dent in the boundaries of available knowledge requires you to put lot of effort and time commitment from your side into that. And you have to anyway take care of your personal life, your parents, and there will be personal events that come up. Those things are anyway there. You are a human being living in a society that has to be there. You cannot fully devote your time to a research and then forget everything. That you can't do. Given that you have to take care of your personal life, etc., and also pursue science, preparing something that is quite orthogonal with civil service examination, it's like too many things for you to handle. There's a lot of mental pressure for you. And more importantly, the quality of your output in all of this gets affected. So focus on one thing and try to give maximum output for it. To add to that, PhD research time, let's say 4 or 5 years, indeed it requires a lot of your time commitment, as I said, but it also gives you a lot of time to explore yourself, learn a lot of skills in your broader domain. Let's say if I was doing biomedical engineering, which involved electronics, I could explore a lot of things in electronic design, PCB design, circuit design, bioengineering, learn a lot of biology, learn medicine, what people are doing, then how does technology connect with medicine. Try to become an expert as much as you can in your chosen field. Finally, that's what matters. You can be a generalist and you can be a specialist, and you can focus on a broader field and become a generalist in that field and specialize in one aspect of it. And your entire professional life should be spent in pursuing how you can improve your skill set each and every day. So each day you go to the lab, you also learn from yourself, from your searches of the internet, what is happening in the real world latest, and also from your colleagues who are coming in. So that constant learning process, constant skill development that goes in along with your research life is something that is a very unique personal journey, which you will miss out if you try to do too many other things like civil service preparation, engineering service exam preparation, lot of things. So this is my viewpoint, and you can comment what you feel about this, and if one of you has gone through a similar journey. And I will try to keep bringing more videos. Have a good day. Bye.